very grateful for your time with us on Global Television. This is how we welcome you to Global Morning. It's a Monday, not just a Monday, it's Easter Monday. It's a public holiday. Yes, it is. I mean, the rules speak for themselves now. But we're grateful that you have decided to spend a part of your Easter Monday morning with us here on the program. I am Uyi Agmofwebe.
And I am Priscilla Obasi, wishing you a beautiful morning. It's, appears to be a great day, even though the roads are still scanty. Mm-hmm. But then it's part of the holidays. I mean, it's part of the evidences of,
right.
Easter holidays.
Of the season.
But then how was your Easter? I hope you went.
I don't know what to say to you, Priscilla. God has been good. God has been extremely good. And more importantly, it's interesting to know that there's this proximity between Salah and Easter, right? That sort of thing. And as always, we've seen politicians encourage us and advise us and challenge us, even though most of them do not, live by the same rules. But it feels refreshing to know that we can pause for a second and take a look at our lives individually and as a country, right?
I saw a post this morning by a concerned Nigerian, and it was like, I thought it was said that Jesus was after 3 days. Why are we doing Easter on a Sunday? So if you calculate Friday to, but then...
Friday is the first day. Yeah. That's the way it's calculated. Yes. Saturday is the second day. Sunday is the third day.
Okay, maybe if that person is watching right now.
Should be getting enlightened free of charge, right?
But then, it was a beautiful weekend for me. I mean, I had the luxury of time to spend with family, and all of that. I think it's part of the reasons for the season.
It is.
It was all good, although the internet had lots and lots of drama. When you brought me to the internet, and the first thing I think about the weekend, you had the whole Blessed CEO drama.
The stage 4 cancer narrative.
The stage 4 cancer narrative, and how she had gone to a TV station to finally embarrass herself.
How much has she raised? I heard 18 million in one
according to her
story.
She said she had raised 15 million naira. And when I watched her interview on Arise,
right.
Part of the things that came to my mind is social media can never be like the traditional media we have. Because prior to when she went on national TV for interviews, she had a series of interviews with social media
blogs, podcasters,
and all of those interviews, she appeared quite bold, confident, and you see her, and what I think happened with her on national TV was maybe she was invited and she didn't know that a doctor was going to be coming, a lawyer was going to be coming, so she was literally on the hot seat, and she couldn't explain some of the things that she had over and over again, said on the internet, because she was faced with a medical practitioner. She presented her results. I don't know if you have the back end to the story for those that are not following the story. But the CEO comes out crying on the internet saying, I have cancer, stage 4. I think the first video she released was she just wrote stage 4. And then people started to guess, stage 4 of what? And then she now says, we see her shaving her hair. And holding it as if it's already falling off. She gave the impression that my hair is already falling.
Right.
And she says, I've been trying to be a strong woman all this while. I'm faced with stage 4. Nigerians, I need your prayers, please. And then she puts her account number. And then people start to ask, you are bold enough to put your account number. Can we see the test results? At least you're not ashamed to put your account number. You can give us, the details of your personal account number. And then she goes, my test result is my business. I mean, I don't owe it to anyone, but I'm going to send it privately to some people that are concerned. And she goes ahead to send this result privately. It happens that this result she sends, some other person comes to the internet and says, this is my sister's result that was a bit doctored by her. So she had apparently removed the person's name, maybe replaced it with hers, and then used it to pose as someone that has an evidence of cancer. And she kept pushing that narrative. People kept donating. Nigerians can be very
generous.
Generous at the same time gullible, because at that point you're not asking, please. Some people did not even see this result. I mean, empathy first. So, but then there are people on social media that came out to say, can we see this result? If you are, you need to go beyond you sending it, individually to people. Can you put it out there, right? But she still appears all, stubborn and all of that, and doesn't do that. The person that has the result comes out to sue her, according to what we heard. There were side talks about, that person
litigation.
litigation, and we also heard that she had gone to the family to beg, right? But she comes on the internet to say, I did not post any results. It is not on my page you saw any results. And certainly she is shading those people that are trying to question her, that are trying to call her to order.
Right.
And boom, we see her on national TV. Clueless. You know, she was literally, you know, when you could just read the body language. It was all someone that's trying to defend something that does not exist. They ask you, oh, you had gone from stage 1 to, who told you had a stage 4? She says, that's what the doctor said. Was there a result to prove this? The doctor just told me that. And the doctor is saying, this cannot be, you know, this is not corresponding with the medical practices. You cannot be told to go for a biopsy without maybe some imaging, and who told you to skip this step? And she said, oh, she doesn't know, she's not a medical person. And the person says, a biopsy, what was the experience for you like? And she couldn't explain. A needle was this, and the doctor said, no, that is not what a biopsy looks like. And then she was, you know, it was obvious that it was all, you know, lies. Afterwards, after the interview, she deactivates her Instagram account and nobody has heard from her till date. So I'm asking questions like, what if, you know, nobody came out to question this thing? I mean, Nigerians would have bought it because a lot of people were already feeling like, you know, people that are questioning her were doing the bad thing, were doing the wrong thing, they were not empathetic.
Somebody's life is at risk.
Exactly.
I mean, you're asking about results.
I'm telling you, so we're already at that point where we felt, you know, the PT was already, you know, up high then. A lot of people were already giving, and then she, before she did activate, she comes out to say, oh, I'm still loved, even my enemies, and trying to mock people. So you're wondering, what if someone, you know, eventually has this cancer? I mean, because of what she has pulled out, anyone that comes out to say, please help me, you're already thinking, could this be a lie? Could this be true? You know, the real people with these cases might not even be bold enough to come out to seek for public help. And you're asking questions around public donations, you know, how Nigerians can be more accountable, especially on the social media space. So there has been a lot of back and forth with this, but I think it's a very important conversation and a big lesson to Nigerians out there.
Well, I know one thing for a fact. I'm not a huge fan of Blessing CEOs, but I know that she has always been very controversial. However, this looks like controversy taken too far now, right? Let's see how it plays out. But there are a couple of, if you like, elements in this conversation. There's the medical, there's the legal.
Exactly.
All right, and maybe one of the lessons she will learn now is that there's a limit to everything. There's a point at which you've got to draw the line. Whether she drew that line or not, how early she drew the line, if she did at all, is all left to be seen. We're taking a break, everyone. We have a lot of politics to talk about as well on the program today. Of course, we'll look at the state of security in our dear country. It came close to home just a few days ago, Nasarawa State, and that has been in the news and has become talking point as well this weekend, and who knows, maybe into this new week. All of that and more after this break. Please stay with us. Insecurity has been a very topical conversation in Nigeria for several years. But now it appears that it's something we are compelled by the reality of today to talk about on a day-to-day basis. In Nasarawa, we heard at least 11 people have been killed. In a certain community, it has been reported that people are fleeing. Most of them don't know exactly where they are going to. But the idea is they want to run for their lives. But the question is this how we are going to keep living as a country? We saw the president in Plateau State last week. He was in Jos. But then he spent a few minutes at the airport and couldn't go beyond that point. Now, the reason he went to Jos was, we understand, to condole with the families who have lost loved ones and, of course, the government of Plateau State. But whether that purpose was achieved or not is left to be seen. Maybe we can sit here and criticize the president all day, but in all of these, we are asking, is there sincerity of purpose in terms of the fight against insecurity? We saw how the governor of Zamfara State, talking about Dauda Lawal, has said that he, in his capacity as the state's chief executive, can see criminals on his phone. He can look at them. He can pinpoint their locations. Whether or not the DSS is not aware of that, I'm not sure. Whether the military is not aware of that, I don't know. We saw Sheikh Gumi come out to say that, look, people keep accusing me of having something to do with these criminals. But politicians know where they are, the governors know where they are, the president knows where they are, the ruling party knows where they are. How is it that nobody is using that intel? As a matter of fact, they are the ones who provide me security when I go to interact with these bandits.
Interesting. Well, I don't know.
I think we are all stunned.
At this point, I really feel like we're clueless because
I
mean the president went to jail recently, and one of the statements he made was this will never happen again. Just a few days afterwards, we see another incident, even in Jos and other parts of the country. I think something also happened in Kaduna State. So
and then there's Nasarawa.
It's obvious we don't know what to do at this point. There is nothing we can do on our own because the commander-in-chief of the armed forces says it will not happen again. I don't even know how far they've gone with the CCTV camera.
I know you are very interested in that.
They're going to install.
You want to be seeing yourself on screen.
I'm not in Jos. I mean, if I was in Jos, maybe I'll think about that. But I expected that maybe the next second, because this is an order from above. Is expected.
But that will take a while to come to fruition.
Why? How?
It's a massive and technically demanding project.
If it was Aso Rock that needed that,
it still will take at least a couple of days or maybe weeks even.
I don't think so.
Are you talking about, because there has to be a timeline to a project like this? It's not something the president says, gives a directive about on a Thursday and then by Friday you see the CCTV cameras hanging.
If you want to install a CCTV camera in your house, you don't need all those protocols to do that.
But we're talking about an entire state.
The moment you decide, at least you start from somewhere. We should hear that maybe the
metropolis
has arrived the state and they're already strategizing.
Men are on the ground already.
Exactly. We should
start installation.
We should see progress to that statement. But
have we made an inquiry to see if there has been progress made?
This whole thing happened on Thursday, right? This is Monday. Let's say the public holiday. But I don't think there's bandits do not have they do not carry out public holidays. They don't partake in public holidays. So we cannot work with public holidays. We're talking about people's lives. You want to give the whole excuse of it was weekend and the Easter celebration. But even in this Easter celebration, people still lost their lives.
Right.
So it's a matter of urgency. And I don't think we are, I'm not even really reliant on that very solution because personally, I don't know how much it would solve. I don't know how.
That's the CCTV initiative?
The CCTV initiative, really. But I want to see that a president says a thing and, somehow, immediately it's being carried out. But I have not seen that factor. I'm still going to look out for this whole week. But it's sad. I'm sorry, at this point, we are literally living, we need to take our lives in our hands. You need to be careful where you go to. Nobody's protecting you, and that's the bitter truth. Nobody is protecting you. Because how does the president come out to say this will be the last? I mean, I don't know what he thought when he said it. Because sometimes you don't just say anything without the actions, without, the plans to carry out that thing. You can't say this will be the last and you have not put in the security measures to make sure that it's the last. How will Nigerians hold on to your word? Maybe you say the next time. It doesn't hold water at this point. Because you guys don't act. You guys do not act. So it's just left for Nigerians not to even hold on to any word of, our leaders out there. Because they are clearly not putting the actions to back their words. It's sad. It's I don't know. I really do not know. Every day you just pray, oh, thank God I'm not a victim. Oh, thank God I'm not a victim. But somebody else.
Meanwhile, your heart is hanging in between your lips.
Exactly. Somebody is facing this as their daily reality.
Right.
Somebody is out there in those suburbs or even the urban centers and unable to go to their farmland, basically because of fear. So, if it's the least thing that we can have, I keep saying, can we take away social amenities? Don't worry. You guys leave the roads. Leave the world-class, healthcare system. Maybe it's not feasible anymore. Let's leave the educational sector. It's obviously not feasible anymore. We're not even going to expect it so that we don't break our hearts.
Right.
But can we leave? Can people's lives be guaranteed? Can we have a security architecture that indeed works? Can we have, way of reviewing this thing? If it's not working for us, can we collaborate? Can we bring in help? Because we keep borrowing and borrowing. Whenever there is some agricultural problem, we call in China. Whenever there is, some problem in somewhere, we call another country. We call their indigenes, their citizens to come and help us. But this very crucial one that keeps having people die every day, we are just adamant, or we just feel like we can handle it. Where is it going to come from? Where is the strategy going to come from suddenly? I don't know.
This is getting very interesting by the day. But we also know that at a point we were told a couple of, if you like, initiatives were being pursued. One time with the UK, later with the United States. In fact, recently we heard the United States already had troops on the ground, even though Nigerian authorities explained that they were not here to get engaged or involved in combats, that they were just here to support in terms of intel, collaborate from an advisory standpoint and what have you. But like you mentioned, it is beginning to become glaring that we need help, and we desperately need help like yesterday. But again, whether the government is being forthright, whether the government is telling the whole truth or not is another concern that most Nigerians have, right? Because first of all, how do you say you're fighting insecurity? How do you tell the people of Jos in particular, and by extension Nigerians, that look, this will not repeat itself? And then barely 24 hours later, it repeats itself. In any case, we're even talking about how these recent attacks in Jos have, if you like, not just depleted, all right, the energy of the people, so to speak, but it has even now disrupted activities beyond commercial. Look at what's happening with University of Jos, for example. They had to call for a shutdown of school. The school had to also work with security agencies to say, look, even though there's curfew, can we not have a window of some kind to allow students to evacuate campus, or facilities around the campus, so that we can at least guarantee their own safety? In that case, we don't make a situation that is already very bad worse. We need to look at the economic cost. Priscilla, if you look at the numbers when it comes to what insecurity costs Nigeria and indeed West Africa sub-region, you'll be shocked, right? Whether the government has a team that sits down to look at all of these to better understand what we're dealing with, what we're up against, is what I'm not so sure of. Because as of today, it appears politicians in Aso Rock and beyond are seeing these as nothing more than politics. When you bring up the issue, the APC guys have a way of explaining it away. They are on the defensive. Meanwhile, the opposition is trying to say that, look, this is the magnitude of a problem that we're dealing with. Again, you're asking yourself, these same guys in opposition, were they not once in the ruling party when they were the ones calling the shots? Were they not also defending the issues of insecurity? So we're now asking, as it stands today, do we have Nigerians who are genuinely and organically, those in the corridors of power, concerned about the well-being of citizens? It is interesting and very disturbing as well how the conversations around 2027 general election are already, if you like, overwhelming, overshadowing, outrunning, and outdoing the genuine concerns that Nigerians have about insecurity. Because on the one hand, they think you are talking about insecurity. The next thing you know is somebody is telling you about who is defecting from one party or the other into another party. And then you're wondering, are we really serious about this fight against insecurity? And then you're also asking yourself, can we really have elections in the real sense of the word, in an atmosphere characterized by rancor, by killings from every part of the country, all right? And then you narrow it down a little from the federal or national level to the states. To what extent are the governors accountable in terms of fighting insecurity? Yes, the governors keep saying that, look, we're just here as figureheads. We're not, we don't have latitude over anything. We can't give directives to commissioners of police or directors of the DSS and what have you. But the governors are busy collecting security votes. Okay,
well, I don't think it would be fair to say the opposition currently, defended insecurity, because
when they were in the ruling party,
I don't think it would be fair to say that, because they were part of the people that said, "Oh, Jonathan is too weak." They collectively said he was.
No. What I'm saying is, you have people in the ADC, in particular today, for example, who were in the PDP when Boko Haram was already rife. And whenever you had this conversation about the state of insecurity, they came out to say, no, it's not as bad as you think. We are working at it. This will not repeat itself. We'll condemn these killings.
Well, I don't think we had so much defense as what we have right now.
So we're comparing one instance of defense with another.
Yeah. Well, if you say those that have been in the maybe APC at some point and now defected to the maybe ADC and other parties right now, I'll totally agree. But the magnitude of the insecurity we have today
cannot be compared with what it was.
Because then we could even trace it. We say, oh, it's Boko Haram. You know, we could trace it. And somehow, somehow the government called them a name, right? They were able to identify who these persons were. But right now, they're not even identified. We don't even know who is doing what. Do you understand? Somebody goes into Kwara village and they are camouflaged, you know, with Nigerian soldiers. We don't even know who is who. We can't even say this is the people doing this. These ones are the ones. There are so much right now. The groups are, you know, diverse. I don't know who to pinpoint. So it's getting worse. I mean, it could have been curtailed when it started, right? If, you know, at the foundational level, someone did something, you know. But at the end of the day, I understand that these people are humans. My own problem with them is the fact that they keep defending it. You know, they keep being on the defensive. People are losing lives. If they, for once, accept the fact that, oh, we are dealing with this, we are working towards it, we are doing this. You know, somebody loses their lives and you condemn the act.
Right.
You come and condemn it, and afterwards nothing happens. No strategy. We're not telling Nigerians this is what we're going to be doing. I know you don't owe us the details of the financial. We're talking about security, and somehow it shouldn't be put out there in the public. But we should at least, in the last 6 months, we should be able to trace to see that you guys have done this that we didn't know that you're going to do. Right? We should be able to see what you have been doing in time past, even if we don't know what you're going to be doing. But let's see that there is progress. But we've not seen progress. Instead, what we keep hearing is defense. If you ask an APC person now, they will say, oh, it's a problem, it's an inherited problem, blah, blah, blah. If you ask someone else, you would hear, no, I don't think there's anything. This, in short, this government is doing well to, you know, they have collaborated on paper. I don't know where the collaboration comes from. I think our Nigerian government are just at that place where they are telling the US, don't worry, you guys can just advise us, we got this. Somehow they still give the we got this factor to them. Even if I'm talking about the US, you know, the government know that indeed they are clueless, but maybe they are just waiting for, you know, some sort of authority for our Nigerian government to do what they need to do. But at this point, they need to give them all the authority because it's not getting funny anymore.
Well, it's getting heavy on the mind already, given the magnitude of this conversation. Of course, it has to do with insecurity, which is blatantly a matter of life and death. We're taking a break now. Ramsey Enoch Agbo is standing by with Heart to Heart Inspirational.
Well, my name is Ramsey Enoch, and it's good to have you join us today on Heart to Heart Inspirationals. And let's get you inspired because we value you. You are very important. You mean so much to this generation. Do you know why? Because if anything happens to you on this journey of destiny, it means something has gone wrong with a generation because you are a potential destiny helper. But then, what step are you taking? All right? Where are you? What are you doing? My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Small steps still move forward. We love big breakthrough. A lot of people want to be big men overnight. They just wake up overnight and they want to be big men, not knowing what it takes to be a big man, to be a big woman. Breakthroughs are things that we are supposed to enjoy, but then, does it just fall from heaven? No. One thing we need to understand is that there are things we need to do to really be successful in life. How much work are you putting into yourself? We need to know that life has so much for us. The truth is this: we love big breakthrough, yeah, that's true, but we underestimate small obedience. Small obedience. And that's the reason you see a lot of people make resolutions and they don't keep to it. You see a lot of people do their to-do list for the day and they are not keeping it. Discipline and obedience to small things. You know, little foxes that destroy the vine. You may think those things are small, they don't matter. But then it makes you accelerate. It makes you move forward in life. We celebrate overnight success but ignore daily discipline. How many people are disciplined today? Even CEOs, they are not disciplined today. A lot of people are not disciplined today. Business owners are not disciplined today. A lot of people have eaten their capitals. Yes, a lot of people. I know of people who ate their capitals. Some even went into debt. These are people that were making millions. I know. I'm not talking abstract. These are people that I know. Where are they today? What happened? Discipline. I've even walked to someone before to say, hey, come on. Do you know what? I know it's your business. I know it's your company. I know you are in charge. But then, instead of just putting your hand into the business money and taking out of it every day, place yourself on salary. Be a salary earner. Let the business pay you. Oversee it. Let it pay you. You don't just wake up without discipline. Oh, you have a need. Bam. Accountant. Yes, sign this check. No. It's not done. Discipline is very important if you want to be successful in life, if you want to make progress in life. Discipline is very important, not just discipline alone. Obedience and discipline go hand in hand, all right? You need to be obedient, all right, and you need to be disciplined. Yet, I want to let you know that nothing great happens suddenly. It happens consistently. Consistency is key. Whatever you're doing. Okay, let me give you an instance. Why do you think anywhere you go to look for a job, whatever you want to do, people look for someone who have experience? Because the more consistent you are on a particular thing, the more professional you become. But a lot of people, because of the issue of diversification, multiple source of income and all of that, these theories have made a lot of people not to concentrate on a particular thing, not to be consistent in doing one thing and become a professional in it. A lot of people are slaving today because they were not consistent in what they were doing. A lot of people are not employable today because of inconsistency, disobedience, and indiscipline. Three major issues: indiscipline, disobedience, and inconsistency. These are thieves of time. Progress, like they said, is not always loud. It's not loud. Sometimes it looks like getting up again. Sometimes it looks like staying committed, all right, when nobody is clapping. A lot of people. That's why, initially I talked about on Heart to Heart, before I've talked about social media. Everybody want to be clapped for these days. Everybody is going on social media to live a fake life because they want to be clapped for. Of what profit is it? It's deception. You're deceiving yourself. I only pity people who copy this online so-called designed people who design themselves to be what they are not. People must not clap for you all the time. Don't wait for the clapping. Don't wait for people to clap for you. Sometimes when walking towards your successful days may not require people clapping for you, or sometimes growth feels boring because when it gets, people don't like work. That's the truth. A lot of people don't like work. So sometimes when you're walking, it looks boring. When you are striving to be successful in life, sometimes it looks boring because it's just like you're driving on the road and it's only you on that road. You're going, no car is coming from behind, no one is overtaking you. You're just going, only you. Sometimes it looks boring. But boring is where mastery is built. Do not despise small beginnings. Small steps compounds. Small habits accumulate, and of course, small disciplines create massive outcome. Just be consistent in it. Every expert you see today was once a beginner who refused to stop. Because so many things happen to stop them. When you're starting a business from the scratch, it is very difficult. If you are not consistent, disciplined, and obedient, you run away. Yes, of course. That period, that growing, that incubation period, if you're not careful, you run away. A lot of people have run away from businesses like that. Then when other people start doing it, enduring that boring moment, that lonely moment. Then when they come out successful, they say, well, why did I even leave that business? Because you were not consistent, disciplined, and of course obedient to the rules of the game. Success have a rule. It has a rule. Yes, you need to abide by the rules of the game before you become successful. Breakthrough don't just happen overnight. That kind of breakthrough that you're looking for doesn't last. Yes, a dribbling tap can fill a bucket over time. Don't you know? Provided there is consistency, it's dripping. Pim, pim. All right, let me give an instance. For instance, you get to the hospital and they give someone drip. All right, there is drip on a patient in the hospital. You see the way it drops, pim, pim, pim. It will appear as if it's never going to get finished, but just give it a time. That drip will finish. Everything will finish into the patient's body, but it's dripping. It takes patience. All right. Not because the drops are big, but because they are consistent. It's dropping. Because of the consistency, whatever you're doing, please ensure to be consistent. If you really want to make it, if you really want to succeed, focus on the progress, not the perfection. Celebrate effort, not just outcomes. Show up when motivation is low. You might not see. Let me tell you something. A lot of people don't celebrate upcomings. That period where you are struggling to be successful, when you're struggling to grow, a lot of people just look at the ignore. Some will not even take you serious. And that's why you need to be careful the kind of relationship you keep. I pity for people who push aside people that were with them when they were in their incubation period, when they were trying to become successful in life, the people that encourage them. Somebody may not even give you all the money, but the encouragement coming is enough. Consistency turns into ordinary actions into extraordinary results. Yes, by the time you're consistent, it turns ordinary action into extraordinary results. All right, keep going. Small steps taken daily will carry you further than big intentions that was never acted upon. A lot of people have big dreams, but they never acted on it. Where are they today? They are nowhere to be found. Well, you need to dream big and you need to act on the big dream, no matter how small, on a daily basis. Be consistent, be obedient, and of course, what else? Be faithful to whatever it is you're doing. Many thanks. I'll come on your way again. My name is Ramsey Enoch. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you very much for still being here with us. It's time to go straight to the newspaper review segment. And we're starting with the Punch newspaper. The first story above the nameplate, Easter attack. Bandits kill 16 in Benue, Katsina, Kaduna. Details on page 7. It's really sad. Really sad. ADC, no secret deals with factional chair. You'll find that detail on page 8. FG hikes 2026 borrowing plan by 11 trillion naira, and that detail is right there on page 24. Besides the nameplate, 2027, Atiku hires U.S. lobbying firm for $1.2 million, says report. Details on page 9. And now to the Star story on 2027 elections. Political storm brews over PVC revalidation. Opposition parties want INEC to cancel planned PVC revalidation. ADC, PDP obedience flag disenfranchisement. Say rural voters at risk. Of course. INEC asked Rex to suspend preparation amid backlash. Talks intensify as Bauchi governor delays ADC defection. Details on page 8. I mean, this is not the time to defect into the ADC until you're sure that everything is going well. Obedience mobilized for Occupy INEC protest. Well, the last one was occupying us.
Right.
Now we're going to occupy
INEC.
Occupy INEC protest. Details on page 8. Tinubu OK's 3.3 trillion naira power debt bailout. This detail is on page 24. Lagos pastor wife nabbed with illicit drugs. Interesting. This is on page 4 and 5. Finally, Oyo 2027, Makinde moves to name successor. Details on page 8. And those are your headlines for the Punch newspaper. You'll read up details when you get a copy. Next point of call will be the New Telegraph.
All right, above the name masts, 13% derivation allocations to oil-producing states drop 21% to 207.03 billion naira. Nigeria records macroeconomic stability in first quarter 2026. Sounds inspirational. That's page 25, where you find details. Then there are 4 headlines immediately beneath the nameplate. Top left corner first with a picture of the chairman of the ADC, Senator David Mark. ADC heads to court for interpretation of judgment on INEC derecognition. Says party recorded upsurge in membership registration. Pages 4 and 5 is where you have details. New electoral acts stemmed from stakeholders' consensus. Senate condemns attacks on Jos, Kaduna. Makinde warns against one-party state on pages 3 and 5. Proposed INEC's voter revalidation threat to 2027 polls. Utomi led MCE. But we understand that the INEC leadership has directed all resident electoral commissioners to shelf that plan. U.S. airman rescued in Iran in miraculous operation. That's attributed to President Trump, with details awaiting you on page 2 of today's issue of the New Telegraph newspaper. Tinubu approves 3.3 trillion naira to clear power debts, improve electricity. With one writer telling us APGC calls for forensic audits, a live television presentation. Of course, APCG Chief Executive was here on our program a few weeks ago to also speak to some of these issues. All right. Then, of course, you have 2 headlines on the right corner of the front page. Outstanding arrears, that's a kicker. Wage award now a necessity, civil servants. Labour leaders, others renew calls for retirement age policy review. Pages 26 and 27 have details for you. Insecurity, we are strengthening screening process for ex-combatants admission, OPSC, on page 5. Kaduna, Chibok, Benue. Terrorists, herders attack churches, kill 17, abduct villagers. All right. It has at least 2 riders with it. Okay. Can to political leaders at Easter show genuine commitment to improving Nigeria's lot? Riders say insecurity, hardship threaten Nigeria's future. Keigama knocks federal government over killings, warns against Good Friday cruelty, cautions Nigerians against selling their conscience in 2027. Poplio calls on global leaders to choose peace. It's quite an extensive read on pages 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And on the foot of the front page, my favorite parts, it says Nigeria ranks third globally in penis size study. Nigeria ranks third globally in penis size study. That's on page 30. Now, don't get it twisted. It's about health, men's health in particular. But I encourage men to read it on page 30. Priscilla is not interested, obviously. But those are your headlines from the New Telegraph this morning, everyone. Okay, next port of call will be the Nigerian Tribune. But the issue of the debts owed to generation companies. Now, the government says we are going to, the president has approved 3.3 trillion to say we're clearing the debts. But the challenge is, the generation companies themselves say that, look, what you owe us is over 6 trillion. How is it that we have now cut it down to 3.3? And the federal government is arguing and saying that what we know is the legitimate, genuine invoice is 3.3 trillion. But it shouldn't affect lights in homes. Whatever it is, the government and these business people, because that's what they are, should find a way around it as quickly as possible.
Well, it definitely wouldn't affect ASROC, being that they have moved out of the national.
They've gone solar.
They've gone solar, so I don't know how it affects us. But I think it's part of this is why they say they know the old government. Because even if the government itself is denying debt,
right.
What would the Nigerian citizen, they come back to when you go take a loan or you get a grant from the government and you refuse to pay?
Right.
I mean, it's supposed to be leadership by example.
Of course, by all means.
But it's interesting. I hope this doesn't affect my light though at the end of the day. Let's go to the Nigerian Tribune now. INEC directs Rex to suspend plans on voter revalidation exercise. Is this supposed to be a reaction to Occupy?
To the outcry.
To the outcry and the obedient movement, because the obedient movement, I think they're at the forefront of the protest. Well,
about revalidation.
Yes.
Because they think it's going to hit them hard.
Of course, it will. It will. A revalidation coming at this point is not a good plan at all. Whoever is at the forefront of that decision is not making a good decision. Because at the end of the day, you see people disenfranchised. Basically because they're not able to go and validate. We still know that there will be network issues with these things. We know the crowd, if you have to go to the centers, if you have to go to the physical locations to do these things, I know the stress I went through to get a voter's card in Nigeria. I mean, one of the reasons why people even went for that was basically they said, oh, you can use the voter's card as a means of identification. So I'm going to mind the stress because you know that eventually the votes might not count. So let me just get a valid ID.
For whatever it's worth.
Whatever it's worth. Today somehow, I don't think it's part of valid IDs again because what revalidation would also contribute to that. Because, I mean, if tomorrow your voter's card is meant to be your ID and you have not been revalidated, it means that it's not a valid identity card automatically. So it's not a good step. It's not a good plan. Being that elections is just 3 months away. I mean, this is April, about less than 10 months. We're talking about, elections, presidential elections. So honestly, it's a no-no, like a capital NO for me. Next story. At 70, this is my story as a covenant child. That's coming from Benga and Benga Daniel. Details on page 12. The Star Story has a kicker. Power sector debt. Tinubu approves 3.3 trillion naira to tackle electricity crisis. So these people should just collect first before.
a bed in hand.
A bed in the hand is worth to win the bull show. When you finish holding this one, and then you now demand for your balance. Page 29 has Nigeria's banking markets to hit $16 billion by 2023 to hit on 7% growth reports. Page 29, so you see that detail. Okay, NDLEA covers cocaine in palm kernel oil cans. Arrest kingpin in Lagos hideout. Nabs pastor wife for drug trafficking. Details on page 11. On health, we have irregular bedtimes could harm heart, brain, doctors warn. Okay. It means that you have to have a sleeping alarm and stick to it. Details on page 13. Next story, Army rescues 31 abducted worshippers in Kaduna, I beg your pardon. Bandits kill 7, suspected armed herders kill 9 in Benue. I hope these figures are correct. I really do hope they are correct. But you want to find details on page 13. Those are your headlines for the Nigerian Tribune. Next point of call will be This Day newspaper.
All right, thank you, Priscilla. Let's look at the headlines above the name masts. ExxonMobil to declare FID readiness on $10 billion deep water project soon. Targets 250,000 barrels per day oil outputs in 5 years. To start with $1 billion, USAN infill drilling program in months. Middle East crisis. Fitch reviews Africa's growth projection, raises Nigeria's inflation to 15.5%. That's one of the world's biggest rating agencies there, pegging our inflation number at 15.5%. All of those details are on page 5. All right, August 2025, ADEC memo reviews appointment of Mark-led caretaker committee invalid ab initio. All right, Tinubu approves 3.3 trillion naira payment plan to curb illiquidity in power sector. With the 3 riders saying 15 power plants signed 2.3 trillion naira agreement with federal government. 223 billion naira already disbursed, says presidency. Okay, then of course, very end, move will restore confidence in power sector. That's the special advisor on energy to President Bola Tinubu there, lending her voice to these developments. In Easter message, Shettima declares better days ahead, insists difficulties are temporary. Not so many headlines on this day newspaper, but please be sure to read up details for yourself. Our next port of call is the Daily Times newspaper.
Okay, so the Daily Times also appears scanty, but let's look at the few headlines we have for you here. Retired police officer plan do or die peaceful protest at Villa, April 20. Okay. Nigeria's crude oil production rises to 1.84 BPD, signals recovery. Well, some hope there. The big story says, terrorists kill 7 Kaduna church worshippers, abduct many, as explosion occurs at Motor Park. As well. Labour leaders, others renew calls for retirement age policy review. I think that detail is right there on page 3. And those are your headlines for the Daily Times. Read up details when you get yourself a copy. I don't know, do we have any more?
All right, let's do the Daily Trust newspaper real quick, being our last paper. Says here, top right corner, 10 years after Concorsia mega city unoccupied. You'll find that interesting read on page 23. Recapitalization, private sector credit drops by 1 trillion naira. Bandits kill 5 worshippers in Kaduna church, truce neutralized 65 in Zamfara. One newspaper is reporting 7 killed,
exactly.
But Daily Trust says 5 here. All right, funding without flow, water crisis deepens across states. Lassa fever, death toll hits 146 as Bauchi Taraba lead. This Lassa fever thing, are we underrating it, or is it just so insidious we don't seem to catch up with the impact? Teenage sisters invent AI-powered tool to tackle post-harvest losses. On page 20, I know Priscilla would love this sort of story a lot, right? Terrorists kill 5 policemen in Borno, Katsina. Mammoth crowd welcomes Governor Yusuf back to Kano after APC National Convention. All right. Then lastly, says INEC suspends voter revalidation amid rising concerns. Those are all the headlines for you this morning, and that's the much you can bring from the newspapers. Please be sure to read all details for yourself as you move into this new week. Yes, it's a holiday today, but just ensure that fake news has nothing on you, and to also remind you that the headlines we bring to you here are exactly as published by the respective publishers. Global Television, as a broadcast media outfit, or the team here at Global Morning, does not in any way add or remove from them. We're taking a break. When we return, Ogochukwu Mobuna will be here with Social Bars. Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debates, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m., Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
At Wichtech Cables, we don't just make cables, we deliver excellence. Our products are built with advanced technology, trusted for their unmatched quality and durability. With a wide range of cables, swift delivery, and continuous innovation, we stay ahead of the market demand. We are proudly Nigerian, fully indigenous, yet world-class. Backed by a professional team, strong technical support, and a deep commitment to customer satisfaction. Wichtech Cables is more than a brand, it's a promise. Wichtech Cables, quality cables better than the best.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust our multi-platform news broadcast real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
Global TV News, accurate and unbiased. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe.
When social media speaks, we listen and we bring you the extra. It's your one-stop shop for trends, tweets, and the tea everyone's sipping on. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get that extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And on issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Boss Extra, where the trend meets the talk. only on Global TV.
Good morning, Nigerians and viewers around the world. It's time to look at buzzing issues on social media. Today we'll be looking at Abia State. Abia State is taking a bold step towards energy dependence with plans to generate its own electricity and reduce reliance on Nigeria's national grid. Governor Alex Otti has announced that the state is set to boost power supply by installing new turbines, a move aimed at ensuring a stable and reliable electricity for both residents and businesses. According to the governor, the decision comes in response to the frequent power outages experienced through the national grid, an issue that has long affected productivity and daily living. The new initiative is expected to transform the state's power sector by providing consistent electricity, which in turn could stimulate economic growth, support small and large businesses, and attract potential investors. Officials says once the infrastructure is fully in place, Abia will gradually transition to an independent power supply system, marking a significant shift in how electricity is generated and distributed within the state. Let's clap for the governor. All right, that's a great one, though. All right, let's take a look at some comments from this particular story. And the first comment is coming from Nebs. And Nebs says, clearly from Governor Otti's actions and vision, it's evident that Nigerians' challenges can be solved. All right, thank you so much, Nebs. And the next comment is coming from Zadowski Bar. And Zadowski Bar says, again, governance is not rocket science. God bless my governor. All right. Thank you, Zadowski. The last but not least for today is coming from Fine Boys Comedy. And Fine Boy says, can you all see that it's possible to make the full Nigeria a better place? Nadesiamabi. Thank you so much, everyone who drops their comments concerning this particular topic. And yes, this morning I'm with an Abian, Priscilla Obasi. Good morning, Priscilla.
I'm happy with that introduction. I'm proud of my state.
Yeah, right now everyone is proud of Abia State right now with what the governor is doing. Although some person still feels like, okay, there is a lacuna somewhere, and I said yes, it's possible. He can't actually reach everywhere, but yes, we are seeing it. It's evident, right?
Yeah.
And we just have to say kudos to him. So, what do you think about this improvement? Because I don't know how possible. With the way our leaders have made it look like development is really not achievable most times, we don't know how possible this one is going to be. He already spoke about it, that he's trying to partner with some international bodies. It's going to be like a private partnership, but it's for the good of Abia State. Do you think he's going to actually realize this?
You know, when God says, I'm going to raise stones, if you don't watch it.
So we know that's God's own state.
I will raise it. You know,
sometimes God's own state for a reason.
Thank you. I mean, everything's making sense right now. Why it's God's own state, you know, and how God can use his own state to make impossibilities become possible.
Okay.
I mean, like someone commented, our politicians make it look as if, you know, these things are impossible. When you talk about insecurity, you know, they don't even make it look as if there's even insecurity. Sometimes they even want to water it down. They want to make it look as if it doesn't exist, right? You talk about bad roads. They somehow just want to make it look as if you are delusional.
In fact, they even try to make it look like the new normal. They'll tell you it doesn't only happen here. It happens every other place.
Exactly. And these are the same guys that travel around the world. They know the difference. But they come back home acting as if everything is fine. How do you... I mean, if you go to a civilized setting, somehow when you come back to a small place, you feel uncomfortable, right? Something you want to just grow and bring that impact into that place. But it's just not the case with our politicians. They just go there. I can't even explain it. How do you, your right senses, go abroad, see the development, come back and deny something is not adding up? Is it that you are, you know, I don't want to call you a psychopath, but you're not you're not normal again. For you to be in such a state of denial, it's not a normal thing at all. So this is so much hope. It doesn't take our government anything to give us stable electricity, and Abia State governor will prove it to them. It doesn't take anything to give us good roads, and these governors will prove it to them. So that when you come out tomorrow to say, oh, this is the excuse, the previous government, there's a governor that experienced the worst of a previous government. Do you understand? The whole democratic years of, you know, Abia State. Abia came out from Governor Alex Otti, inherited the worst government in Nigeria. I'll put it that way. And he's still able to make what he's making with it. So when an APC person comes up to tell you, oh, because of PDP, you get, and that's why they've not been able to make progress. You can now point Abia State governor to them and say, he, inherited Abia State in a mess, and he's able to transform it. What is your excuse? I mean, what is the rocket science in making roads accessible? What's the rocket science in even putting your country in such a way that you can attract foreign investors? If Abia State is able to achieve this, I can tell you to be able to generate so much revenue because of the fact that the state will now attract investors.
We already have Aba there, which is one of the largest markets right now in Nigeria. So we have foreign people.
If we're talking about, like I keep saying, the whole issue of taxation, their citizens will gladly pay tax when you put in the right infrastructure. When things are working, nobody will complain. But the problem is that they don't want to do their own work. But they want to blame you for not doing your own work. They want to make you feel guilty. They want to make you. It's not narcissistic, for crying out loud. Your government are narcissists. Our leaders are narcissists, if you ask me. So I'm happy. Let me not just even get myself, so emotional with the negatives. Let me focus on the positive. I mean, this is fresh. I feel like we're relocating back.
Okay, right now. So how do I become an indigene of Abia State? Because it looks like when I go to social media, everybody just keeps saying we have 24 hours light, and this is me who we even share light. We're in band A, but we still share light. They give you 2 days on, 1 day off. And guess what? This weekend I did not see light, and I said Jesus just resurrected. Why can't I see light to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus? So this is a big one. It's a great and bold move from Abia State, and if at the end of the day they are able to actually realize this thing, honestly, I think I'll move to Abia State. I'll be a correspondent from Abia State. You would just make that possible. Thank you so much, Priscilla, for your contribution to today's topic. If successful, this move could position Abia as a model for other states seeking sustainable and reliable energy solution in Nigeria. We'll continue to monitor this development, of course, on this story. Let's see how it goes. All right, this is where we close the curtains for Social Buzz here on Global Morning. I am Ogochukwu Mobuna, and Priscilla and we will be bringing you the other part, which is the discussion section of Global Morning. I am Ogochukwu Mobuna. Stay with us as Global Morning continues. Bye for now.
When social media speaks, we listen and we bring you the extra. It's your one-stop shop for trends, tweets, and the tea everyone's sipping on. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get that extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And on issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Buzz Extra, where the trend meets the talk, only on Global TV.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
Our language, our vibrant culture and colorful tradition, our industrious and hospitable people. This is Nigeria, a nation that prides itself in abundant human and natural resources. From east to west, north to south, we sparkle, we shine, we have a common bond. Fellow Nigerians, let's do away with ethnic, religious and regional sentiments that divide us as a people. God has blessed us and empowered us to find strength in diversity. Let's make our faith and way of worship our source of unity as we build a nation that stays united. Nigeria, together today, together always. This is a public announcement brought to you by Global Television.
This issue of power, well, electricity that these two ladies, Ogochukwu and Priscilla, just talked about, maybe, well, from a social standpoint, but there's also a strong economic angle to it. So there are those who believe, quite frankly, that one of the fundamental reasons Nigeria has not made much of progress is on account of our inability, but maybe we should say refusal, to make power available.
Refusal is the word
for our country. Because how do you explain that you have hundreds of thousands of small businesses? Rather than face issues of how to brand and scale their business, they are busy looking for alternatives to the national grid. 1 minute they are on gen, some of them, I better pass my neighbor, as we call it. And the next they are jumping on solar. And solar, at least for installation, that initial, if you like, cost implication, it's not so friendly, especially for small businesses. Yes, people will argue and say, well, if Aso Rock can switch to solar, who are we not to do the same? But the question is, do you have the financial muscle that they have to do that? If you want to install solar for maybe a family of 5, for instance, where they're probably living in a 3-bedroom apartment, you know how much it's going to cost. Such families, for the most part, will have to plan that over a stretch of maybe several months or more than a year and all of that. Meanwhile, they have other things also screaming for their money and things like that. So, as it stands today, we cannot make progress. We cannot move this country 1 inch further if we do not address the issue of power. Funny enough, every government before coming into power campaigns with power. They say, we'll give you power, and so on and so forth. And nobody is asking what has happened to all of the other promises. Of course, you did come into office, you spent 4 years or 8 years, as the case may be. This promise never came to fruition. Lastly, the other time, former President Olusegun Obasanjo was asked about some $16 billion that was said to have been sunk into the same power sector. Rather than give a very comprehensive and articulate answer, the man said, well, I've already addressed that issue in my book. In other words, if Priscilla Obase wants to know what happened to that investment or that line of funding, all she has to do is to go read my book.
Oh, that's really funny. So I feel like...
I know you say you want to hide something from the black man. So are you saying the former president is trying to hide the facts from the black man?
I think it's more of, okay, I've already done what I need to do. If you want to hold any other person accountable, go and hold.
Besides, I'm no longer in office.
I'm no longer in office, right? So everybody does what they should do. I mean, I don't want to have to dent another person's image because somehow they might come for me. So go and catch them by yourself and do what you want to do.
I'm not party to this.
I'm not party to this. I mean, you are able. If you can hold them, or you can call them to be accountable. Because in the real sense, these are the people that are meant to. You cannot give out funds. Or you cannot, release funds to a particular sector, and you yourself, you're not able to give us, some sort of accountability to it. You are part of the accountability process because it is in your place to call the person you're giving it to ask them to give accounts. So that is the process of accountability. It starts from you, and you carries out to the latter. But we have leaders that somehow use our funds to compensate people for voting for them, for riding around them, for being loyal to them, give out contracts. And part of the loyalty or part of the reward is I don't have to monitor it. I don't do nothing about it. Just go and do whatever you want to do. If they catch you, now your own. If they don't catch you, now your own. But trust me,
anyhow, it turns out
I won't bring it up. Trust me. As long as I'm the one here, nobody will hear about it. But any other person that says it, please, I'm not the one that said it. And I really feel like Nigerians need to come to that place where we start to protest for things like this. Because, it puts them on their toes. I'm talking about our leaders. Because if we are able to bring such a scare even to INEC right now, INEC says, we are holding on to our revalidation of consent. What can't we do? It was still in this same administration, people went out to protest for electoral, somehow it was crafted. We can say we did not get the best of results, but we saw a response, a prompt response. The next day, the National Assembly called for some kind of meeting. It was basically because people came out to protest. But Nigerians have got to that point where everybody, we're not looking at making the country better, we're looking at making our own lives better. As long as my life is better, the country, anything that wants to happen to the country, let it happen. Let me just secure my own bag. Let me secure my family. Let me protect myself first. And if I'm able to afford the solar, I'm out of this drama, you guys. If I'm able to afford the money that gives me the best access to good health care or medical interventions, I'm out of this drama with you guys. No one are continuing to fight. You understand? That's where we are at. Everybody is just looking for a way to belong to, classism is the order of the day, in other words. So we as Nigerians must make sure that we call a spade a spade. We are able to identify our problems and call out our leaders. If we don't call them out, it boils down to even the local government level. Now there's something called autonomy. We have not seen the reality of it. The president is saying, go and hold your local government chairman accountable. And we keep saying, Tinubu is the problem. We should know when to call out a person that's responsible for a thing. We shouldn't, if we keep calling Tinubu will not respond to some things because he's not in the position to respond to those things. And those things will keep lying, keep getting worse, because he will not respond to them. So we should know who is responsible for every single thing. It's part of what we should do. We need to equip ourselves with that knowledge. For example, you don't have your roads working well for you in your street, in your locality. Who is supposed to do this? You need to make your findings and call out that person. If everybody adds their voice, lend to their voice in calling out people that are responsible for things, I think we would have a more accountable system, when it comes to leadership. And Nigeria will go from where it is right now to where it should be, because everybody will be on their toes. Nobody wants to be called out. Somehow, at best, most of these leaders hide under the, shadow of Tinubu, because we know that they know that you blame Tinubu. Right. So they do what they want to do. They go scot-free. And
the blame moves to the president.
Yes, and the blame moves to the president. They are excited where they are because somehow they are shielded with the Tinubu.
They got away with it.
They got away with it. So when we start to demand for electricity, who is in charge of these things? When we start to demand for good roads, who is supposed to be in charge of at least the one on my street, the one on the express, the one on, when we start to call people out for their direct responsibilities, we'll be able to make a headway here. I really feel so.
The interesting thing, Priscilla, is that we have a political class in Nigeria that has the tendency to believe that once you are in public office, whether you were appointed or elected, you're supposed to be untouchable. Nobody should question you. Nobody should talk to you. You are not accountable to anyone. We have seen public officers, how they carry themselves. One of the very recent ones was even the Minister of Works, Engineer David Umahi, when an Arise correspondent asked him about certain technical details regarding the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. All right, he attempted to make mockery of the lady, but the questions he asked they were not pedestrian. All right, they were questions that bordered squarely on environmental impact assessments. Now, we all know, even at the very rudimentary level, that if you're doing a development of that magnitude, we're talking about a coastal highway that stretches all the way from Lagos, all through Calabar, where livelihoods will be significantly affected, where geography will be impacted, all right? The whole landscape will be redefined, so to say. Now, here is a lady brilliant enough to ask questions about environmental impacts. She's asking about the assessment, and then you turn it into a funfair, you turn it into a joke. Because obviously you didn't see that question coming. You are used to journalists asking you every day more and more questions. But somebody is standing up to insist that you should provide Nigerians, not just herself, answers to environmental impacts. I mean, I was born and raised in the Niger Delta. That's where I come from. It's commonplace. It's common knowledge that you can't just start a project and not talk about environmental impact assessment. This is a project by the federal government. All right, so we've seen that happen. So for me, I think it's high time we continue to push more than ever before awareness around civic education, because people must know what their right is. We must put an end to this culture of politicians across board thinking that they are doing Nigerians a favor by doing what is statutory, statutorily their responsibility. First of all, you get funding for it. Secondly, you are either appointed or elected for it. Now, in the case of those who were elected, you came begging. I mean, you were literally begging for votes. You got the votes. Now, you're being asked to do your job. It has become an issue of feeling like a demigod, all right? If you have that kind of complex as a public officer, then there's a problem. There's a real problem. And with that sort of reality, that sort of, if you like, culture, it means that we can't make much of progress. And basically, it's quite pathetic, because to whom much is given, as they say, much is expected.
And I really feel like if we give, this is not supposed to be a bias or gender war, but I really feel like if we have more women in this system, somehow accountability would be better than what it is today. Because I know a particular actor that said, I had to bring women to produce my movie because they say if you give a woman a thing, somehow she carries it out to the latter. It's true to an extent. We have entrusted leadership into a majority men, male folks, for the longest. And at best what we get is blames and blames and blames and blames, right? Nobody's asking questions, nobody's probing somebody, because somehow, you've dented your image, or somehow you have, you're faulted. So I cannot call my fellow man out because myself, I get my own skeleton for the couple. Everybody has compromised at some level. Everybody has compromised at some point. So you know that I am there because nobody can call me out. Even governor said,
as a man.
Even governor said nothing called me
as a man.
Yes. No, maybe not maybe I shouldn't tie it to gender, but I mean the male folk is more, they're likely to want to go all out basically for money, maybe to take care of their families, right? To secure the
to impress the women. Look out for the women. You don't want to mention that part.
Thank you for adding that. To look out for the women, to impress them, right? Everybody wants to impress. Maybe to even impress their fellow men too.
Men are hard to impress.
Men are hard to impress. But a man would go all out. Men take more risk. They are risk takers more than the female folks. The woman is more conscious of consequences, right? Repercussion. An average woman, right, than an average man. Let me put it in that way. So you would find, if we have more women in the system, you'll find women that maybe are scared to go to some length, and that would force them to do the right thing, right? Because of that fear, natural fear. It would instill in them that consciousness of carrying out the right, things, so that there's no repercussion. So we'll have more women doing the right things than the few women that would be courageous to do the wrong things. I don't know if you understand my point of view.
I'm following your logic.
I'm following my logic. So if we have more women in this system, I'm not saying that men are bad, but men are risk takers. I'm only saying that women are better. I'm only saying that men are risk takers. It will also be the woman that can take risk to
we do very well
forward, right? But I'm only saying that can we feel a different gender? Can we feel, maybe not a different gender, but can we have more women in the system, right? That would, because I'm saying this because, I've seen our politicians go for interview. I know there are a few men that question them, but most times when you see them being confronted, it's mostly by maybe a woman, sometimes, right? When we started the show, I mentioned Blessing CEO, and all the while, there was a point she went to Daddy Freeze for some kind of and the guy kind of shielded her. There was a way maybe he had a soft spot, I don't know, but it was obvious that he was, he definitely wants to throw her under the bus.
He for she.
I don't know whether that's called, he or she is not to support something wrong. So everything that is wrong should always be called out at every point it is done. Right? But he was kind of, he shielded her. But he had to take a woman to call her out. He had to take a woman to ask her the questions that she couldn't answer. He had to take a woman to bring out logic from whatever she had been saying all the while. And, it was at that point, it became obvious that something is wrong somewhere. But all the while, she went to, there's this guy called Egungun of Lagos. Yes, Egungun even interviewed her, asked her, nice questions, just to, it was obvious that something is not wrong, what is wrong somewhere, but nobody was bold enough to confront it and ask the logical question.
The elephant in the room.
Exactly. But she came for a live TV conversation, and it took a woman to ask her these questions, to call her out, right? That is exactly what I'm saying. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know if you seem not to agree with me.
No. Don't worry about how I feel about this. But I know we need to have a better nation.
we need to have a balance. What I'm saying though, we need a balance because we have majority of men occupying.
Can't we bring in more women into the space?
No, can we have a balance? That's what I'm saying. I'm not even saying you should bring.
Let's start working towards. Draw out a plan of action.
If we have a balance, everybody would sit up. Everybody would want to represent. Maybe they want to represent the agenda better. I don't know, but the essence is humanity. The essence is accountability, right? The essence is to be able to deliver the mandate, whatever it is that you have promised the people, without looking at some man to impress, or some godfather to impress, or some, some person to just, and without looking at the fact that I have also dented my image, I've also done something wrong. Nobody can, call me out because somebody else has done something wrong. Therefore, I am safe to do everything wrong.
Right.
That is the kind of leadership or the system we have in Nigeria. So I'm saying it can get better. Really. If you have more intentional people in the system, you have people that are able to keep to the laws.
Right.
They would, be able to call out all of these inconsistencies and make our nation better.
All right. Well, hopefully by the end of this program, Priscilla will share a roadmap with us as to how we can have what she calls a balance. All right. While we're waiting for that, we're taking a break now. When we return, we'll turn our attention squarely to insecurity issues. An intelligence expert who is also a security consultant will join us going forward. Stay with us. Up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
Our language, our vibrant culture and colorful tradition, our industrious and hospitable people. This is Nigeria, a nation that prides itself in abundant human and natural resources. From east to west, north to south, we sparkle, we shine, we have a common bond. Fellow Nigerians, let's do away with ethnic, religious and regional sentiments that divide us as a people. God has blessed us and empowered us to find strength in diversity. Let's make our faith and way of worship our source of unity as we build a nation that stays united. Nigeria, together today, together always. This is a public announcement brought to you by Global Television.
All right, let's turn to insecurity matters in our country full-fledged this morning. We're already joined by Dr. Ahmed Getso. He is an intelligence expert as well as a security analyst consultant. Dr. Getso, we'd like to appreciate you for your time with us on the program this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Great. I want to start with the headline that is very disturbing. That's the Guardian newspaper this morning. It says bloody Easter in Benue, Kaduna, despite Tinubu's pledges. The president has made what we would have ordinarily thought was a solemn pledge, saying that this will not happen again. At least he said that in Jos a few days ago. But then we're seeing it happening not just Jos or anywhere in Plateau State, but even beyond. Benue, Kaduna, Nasarawa, we hear about at least 11 people had also been killed. There are people now running away for their own lives. They are fleeing their communities and what have you. How bad is it really? And what's the factor? What are the factors that make it look like we are overwhelmed as a country?
Well, there are several outline issues for which Nigeria will never be peaceful. I'm not praying, but I'm just preempting the reality, and I'm just discussing the reality. One, as far as the belt between Enugu, Nasarawa, Benue, Plateau, Kaduna, and some part of linking to part of Kano, as well as down to Katsina up to Ilela in Sokoto, and in reverse. That is when I say Ilela, the border community between Nigeria and Niger Republic. This belt, if this belt remain open, with level of armed proliferations, with the level of inability of the government to use the intelligence to fish out and deal with those who are found wanting and those who have been found wanting long before, in the last 23 to 27 years back. Many have been apprehended, but they have been released probably for a bail or certain things, and many are still moving around. Nobody is handling them well. Government have said times without number that we know the finances of the terrorist. Of course, government did not classify to us that saying the terrorist is referring to either bandits, Boko Haram, ISWAF, gunmen, non-gunmen, and non-gunmen. Even though I don't believe there is anything on non-gunmen.
You think there are?
I don't believe. Yes, of course there are none. I don't believe there is anything on governed spaces. I don't know if really the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is now being shared between the democratically elected government and intruders, or rather agitators, or rather a radical group or terror group who are known. Because you can only tell me that you don't know who are the criminals in the northeastern part of the country, and even in the northeastern part of the country, in some part of northeastern part of the country. But in northern part of the country, in north central, in northwest, I can assist, I can provide a clear, detailed outline, geographically marked strategy. If there is a serious people in the helm of the affairs of governance, if there are serious, honest, and sincere people in the management of our resources, and if we really are ready to handle the 7 outlines: 1, the saboteurs, internal saboteurs; 2, external saboteurs; 3, complicits; 4, compromises; 5, deal with the corruption decisively, not on political and selective basis; and 6, reach out to the criminals where they are; and 7, ensure that anybody who is found wanting to be participating, to have participated even before, even if the person have made a so-called statement of repent. Because I don't believe there is any repentant. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. So unless and until we are ready, if the government is ready and serious to handle and manage these 7 outlined issues, then I'm ready to provide government with the detailed, accurate data and information, outline information, word by word, polling unit by polling unit, local government by local government, state assembly constituency by state assembly constituency, local government constituency by local government constituency, federal constituency by federal constituency, and senatorial constituency by senatorial constituency, to expose who are really the criminals and where are they, by their names. And even let me tell you something very important. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is using Glo, is using MTN, is using Airtel, is using 9 Mobile, and what have you, whatever network you have, is what I'm using, is what he is using. And it's the Samsung the DSS are using, and all other formations of our military and paramilitary. So I wonder, many situations you realize that when somebody passes a negative comment, or a simple comment, either abusive or non-abusive, or anything that the errant class of the security felt is an abuse or an assault to any of the commissioners or anybody, the person will be apprehended within less than 8 hours or less than 5 hours. So how are they being tracked? Those who are collecting the money for armed deals, those who are exchanging the money, exchanging mineral resources with arms, those who are exchanging kidnapped victims to money or to motorcycles, they are not doing it through the air. They are doing it through the same network. It is either my number or your number or her number or their number. So if we can have fast track measure, which is very, very simple and easy, and I know there are a lot of Nigerians personnel within the cycle of the military and paramilitary that have the capacity to handle GIS, to handle GPS coordinates, and to conduct tracking. So why can't we use the same strategy and cordon the areas where these criminals are and handle them accordingly? And also, just before I allow you to ask the next question, it is very necessary now for Nigeria to know, and I'm warning the Nigerian government, under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu or under whosoever it may be, the hypocrisy between northern governors or within the cycle of the northern governors will never allow peace to reign in northern Nigeria. That is very clear. Because when it is time for their politicking, when they have a mission in the name of their interests, they come together. In fact, they were in Kaduna one time when they said that they are going to contribute monthly basis 1 billion naira, making 19 billion monthly. With only one month's contribution, that is 19 billion. Be rest assured, I can design strategic, effective, accurate strategy that can be used in dealing with the security challenges in 19 northern states within 65 to 90 days by 75%. We don't need their money for 10 months. No, just 19 billion. Let them bring me on board. And let them ask me to design, and let it be on condition that if the strategy fails, if the strategy is implemented accurately and it failed, I'm ready to be jailed. I'm ready for life imprisonment. I'm ready to sign, to accept even execution. And I'm ready that my name can be published in all the media in the African country and Asia, where I'm recognized. I'm coming.
Are you saying the northern donors are not committed to the fight?
They are not sincere. They are not sincere. The hypocrisy was in them. The hypocrisy surrounding them. The hypocrisy in their heart and in their mind. Their inability, lack of trust and sincerity and honesty are between themselves. And very poor commitment. Even if they have the commitment, is very, very poor. It's quite negligible. And I want to tell you that it is these same politicians, same governors, same local government chairmen, same councillors, same members of the State Assembly and National Assembly, as well as the so-called distinguished senators we are calling, and the other so-called elders or philanthropists that we have, are fueling this crisis. I have reported the oil marketing trading companies who have been providing fuel for these guys. They have never been invited, not even apprehended. They are still having their fueling stations in Kebbi, their fueling stations in Sokoto, their fueling stations in Katsina, their fueling stations in Kaduna, their fueling stations all over the country unchecked. And I have made mention, I have provided evidence. Not only that I mentioned, I provided evidence. And I said, this evidence should be proved by the security agencies, by the intelligence, but I have not been listened. And they are still doing their business. They are still providing at late hours, in the midnight, they are selling this fuel, petroleum, to the guys. And like I was saying about the politicians or the governors, the senators or whosoever, they are still the ones who are distributing the motorcycles. And these motorcycles, if at all there is sincerity and honesty, before, when you purchase a motorcycle, you should be able to outline and identify and profile who and who you are going to empower with that motorcycle with. If you know the persons, you should be able to liaise with the relevant regulatory agencies like Federal Road Safety and VIO and ensure their registration is accurate. So those information can easily be fast-tracked if any of those motorcycles are used in committing any offense. This is one. Secondly, the motorcycle traders in Kano, in Sokoto, in Zamfara, in Katsina, in Kaduna, in Niger, all over the country, even in northeastern part of the country, and even in all other parts of the country, are conducting their activity unchecked. And until and unless we are randomly sampling, we are conducting a random or strata or quantitative sampling strategy in order to use the hypothesis to identify who bought how many machines, how many motorbikes, when, and for what purpose, and to whom. And those duplicate receipts from the traders should be utilized always by our intelligence as a sample. How many motorbikes have been bought from Sokoto? Where is the address of the person? Where is his phone number? Let it be checked. When he bought it from Kano to trade it in Sokoto or to trade it in Borno or Boche or Benue or wherever, who bought it from him? And compare and contrast on monthly basis, even on daily basis. That data, there should be a database at the Federal Road Safety offices and the DSS offices as well as the Force Intelligence to fast track the trading activity, the selling and buying, either on individual basis or on in bulk basis. Identify how many have been bought and how many came for registration. If they are not getting registered, it means you need to conduct a quick arrest, a massive movement, a distribution, joint task force to move around where there are Okada guys, their joints in Kano, in Abuja, in Sokoto, everywhere. Double check and crack on them and ensure that those you apprehended without registration, confiscate their machines. Confiscate it and destroy it, and also present them before the judge, the court of law, for necessary legal action. And tell me if that could not serve as a deterrence. And as far as we allow anybody, either for commercial or private purpose, to go and buy a motorcycle and use it the way he or she wants, the menace, Nigeria will never be peaceful. And the calamity will continue to redouble and be worse than what we know, and worse than what we see.
I think Priscilla has a question.
So it is very, very necessary for government to checkmate the regulatory agencies responsible for vehicle registration, and also double check and confiscate and deal with our judiciary to deal with the cases of unregistered motorbikes as well as the cars that are being utilized. And every registration must be linked to the NIN, that is to the NIN number.
So that we have a central database.
Of course, as far as we cannot do this, there will never be peace in Nigeria. And northern Nigeria will continue to have more massacre, not only in Plateau, not only in Kaduna, not only in Katsina, not only in Nasarawa, and not only allowing the gunmen, or either gunmen or non-gunmen, or ungoverned spaces to exist or whatever. It is quite shameful. The Senator Lalong, my senior colleague, made mention recently to the face of the president.
Himself, a former governor.
The former governor, eyeball to eyeball, in the presence of all the former governors, and in the presence of almost all the key players as far as security and governance, policy issues, as far as institutional, formal and non-formal institutions is concerned. He made mention, Mr. President, summon all of us, the former governors and the serving governor, to Abuja so that we can confess. Not here. Summon us to Abuja so that we can confess. I commend him for making this statement.
Why?
Plateau State will never be peaceful because it is not about religion. Anybody who is deceiving himself or herself or themselves that the crisis in Plateau, Benue, Taraba and Adamawa, it has a link with the religion, I think the person is deceiving himself. I have been reading the Christianity manuscript. I almost have Old Testament and New Testament and many of the versions of Bibles in my head. I have been diving into the Quran and the Islamic manuscripts in the last 40 years or even more than that. Since 1993, when I joined, 1992-93, when I joined Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, I joined the Christian Knowledge Group, and I have been learning on daily basis. There is even today I open Bible and read. So on daily basis, as I read Quran and Islamic manuscript. In fact, I'm undergoing my second PhD currently on religion and philosophy in one of the institutions. Making my research to compare the crisis, our ongoing crisis and the religion. And I have not seen in any manuscript, either Islamic manuscript or any Christian manuscript or any of the traditional religion that preaches killing of innocent. Or a Muslim go and kill Christian. It is never in any of the Islamic manuscript. I challenge all the scholars in all parts of the world, if there is anywhere that Islam or Islamic philosophy or political or whatever legal framework that says go and kill Christian, go and kill Jew, let me know it if it is available. And I challenge all the Christian scholars in all parts of the world to tell me if there is anywhere in the Christian manuscript where a corner has been made or a sentence or a word that has prescribed or have instructed any Christian to go and kill a Muslim brother or traditional religious practitioner. So having looked into this, it means, and I have not heard any responsible religious cleric preaching that go and kill Christians, go and kill Muslims. I have been visiting churches, even in recent time, even on Sunday, this very Sunday, I visited a church in Kubo here in Abuja. I visited a session in a church, and I almost interact with pastors, rabbis, and so on and so forth among the scholars, and I always ask them to share information with me, and I have not seen anywhere where a cleric or any manuscript that advocate or call or make a statement, go and kill Christian or go and kill Muslim. It means, but I know and I believe all the books, the Christian manuscripts and Islamic manuscripts have clearly mentioned, have clearly denounced itself from anybody who commit offense of murder, who commit offense of hitting somebody for a blood. Even a drop of blood is not allowed in Christianity or Islam, for you to even hit someone for a drop of blood to come out of his body. Talk less of killing. So it means we know the killers, we know who they are, and we are either formulating or coming off or driving the country through non-negotiable policies that are pushing political forces, economic forces, social forces, injustice, lack of equity, issues of weak governance, irresponsible leaders to some extent. Unless and until we are ready to address this squarely, that is when Nigeria will be driving to the process and forces that will lead it to a peaceful environment. Otherwise, Nigeria will never be peaceful. Nigeria will remain chaotic. Nigeria will remain an environment where more radical groups will exist. Nigeria will remain where you will have unknown government and you will have ungoverned spaces, which is a clear, shameful act and a slap to the face of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and all the leaders in the country. Once you mention ungoverned spaces, how can you justify that?
I want to ask you a question, just so we can pivot a little right now.
Yes.
When you look at the situation today, I mean, you have mentioned the northern governors. Again, governors have a role to play in fighting insecurity. Not too long ago, Sheikh Gumi, a very prominent voice from the north, came out and said, look, people are accusing me falsely. There's nothing I know about these bandits that the governors themselves and the political class do not know. As a matter of fact, the governors also provide me security whenever I need to go engage with these bandits. When you look at all of that, and with the silence from the governors, what does that say in terms of what the governors ought to be doing by way of their own responsibility of securing lives and property?
Absence of sincerity, justification that they are irresponsible, justification that they are mixing up, politicizing the security, justification that they allow the criminals, the masses, to be at the criminal of the masses, or the masses to be at the criminal of the masses of the criminals. It means they are not ready for good governance. It means they are not interested. In fact, if you say it is part of the governance in Nigeria, creating insecurity, creating chaos, promoting drugs abuse, promoting narcotics trading, is part of the governance. If you say that, as far as I'm concerned, you are making a valid statement, simply because, like mentioned by Dr. Ahmad Abakar Gumi, and it has been justified by the Governor Lawal Dare of Zamfara State. It has been justified by Governor Diko Rada of Katsina State. It has been justified by Tambuwal when he was the governor. It has been justified by Amir Ben Masari, His Excellency, the former governor of Katsina State. And it has been justifiably mentioned and stamped, sealed, and endorsed by former governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasiru El-Rufai, when he was the governor. And it has been justified by many of the social activists, civil society organizations, philanthropists, traditional institutions, as well as almost every bloc that make what is called governance or society in northern Nigeria or in any part of the country, knows that these guys are known, they are not in any hidden place, and they are still the same people that we have been fighting in the last 13 years or more than that. So this governance, if they are really serious, I said, and I keep repeating myself, none of the commissioners of security in any of the states, none of the commissioners of police in any of the state, none of the directors of the DSS in any of the state, none of the formations of intelligence of either military or paramilitary that have no iota of direct or indirect interaction with either group of these criminals or individuals. So if this information exists, and if this criticism or this statement, objective statement I made exists, then it means the governors are not interested in handling, in manning the insecurity and addressing the security challenges. And I said, and I'm justifying my statement by my arguments, that killings, murdering, making effort to reduce the population of northern Nigeria, because if you kill the bandits, they are northerners. But you allow bandits to kill other people in other communities, they are northerners. So why is it happening only in northern Nigeria? Does that mean the population, the target and strategy is to reduce the population of
the north?
Does that mean it is only in the north and in the rural areas you will find one man with 4 wives and 35 children? Does this mean that it is a strategy to systematically and strategically, it's a set objective and a set goal and a set target to massively reduce the total number of the population we have and to create more widows and more widows, so that people will become scared of going to farming, of going into economic activity, on going on social activities, on participating in politicking, and so on and so forth, so that the population will continue to kill itself and then have a reduction, continue to have a reduction probably for the period of 100 years. I'm afraid that if things continue the way they are, the population of the northern Nigeria in the next 200 years is not going to be up to 1 million.
Sir, could this also mean that the north is a target basically because of maybe it has, a population of people that are not so educated? Do we have majority of education or lack of education in the north, and making it easy to infiltrate or penetrate these people? I
want to appreciate you once again for asking me this question on Easter Day, while I join my Christian brothers to celebrate Easter by saying Happy Easter Day. When you look at the whole issue, armed proliferation, there is no armed manufacturing industry in the entire northern part of the country beside Daikon.
Right.
And Daikon is not producing AK-47. Even if it is producing AK-47, the question is, you have Benue, bordered Enugu, Kogi, Kwara, bordered other states of other part of the country. And you have all the other northeastern states, bordering Cameroon, Chad Republic, and so on and so forth. To some extent also bordering some other part of the south or southeastern part of the country. So the question is, in the Nigerian Army, in the Nigerian Navy, Air Force and Police, or whichever, you have what is called armory. And each of these armory is part of the logistics that is necessary. Procurement, and a targeted procurement is being made. Yes, of course. Those formations, those armories are getting replenished by day. And the source is known. Normal government procurement procedures. Why is the arm being proliferated in the wrong hands and only in northern region? And where is the source of these arms? Who is replenishing the ammunitions and armaments? There was a time, I think during Buhari administration, even during this government, the defense headquarters made mention of killing of hundreds of bandits, hundreds and thousands of Boko Haram. We are killing these bandits and we are seeing more of their activity. And Dr. Getso and his alike have said they know the criminals. They know where the criminals are. And they look at your eye and raise their finger to the eyes of any security agency and says that I, Dr. Getso, know that you know the criminals. And you know, I know you know. And you know, I know you know where they are. So who is playing with whose intelligence? It's not about, literally, when you want to mention uneducated. I don't believe that northern region, when you talk, there is gap between south and north about, I don't believe in the United Nations description of literate and illiterate. As far as I'm concerned, anybody who cannot go and face and dive into the river that doesn't know it's deep. As far as the person cannot take a gun and shoot himself. I believe that's natural. Yes, I believe there is no that you cannot call that person uneducated. Qualifications is not the minimum of education. Yes, of course, minimum of how to read and write is very important. Yes, but notwithstanding, you cannot somebody who cannot go and stand on the street on the road while a trailer is coming. How can you tell me that person is uneducated?
Well, it's possible.
If that is the case, let's assume that we have more uneducated in northern region. Why do we still have capable hands who cannot even write their names? Even if you write it, Simon, Ahmed, Yahuza, Getso, Frisika, and ask the person, give him a pen, please write this name, cannot write it. But that same person can dismantle AK-47, PMG, RPG, and even use AA.
It's very possible.
In fact, in recent time.
Very possible.
So if that is possible, it means that person is not uneducated.
I'll give you an example.
No, forget about your example.
Okay.
But I'm giving a justification.
Okay.
So if you have any justification against my own justification, that the person is not educated. Because if the person is not educated, cannot even handle the AK-47. And they ambush, they even face one-on-one the trained military that passed through the Nigerian Defense Academy, passed through the Nigerian Army and Police Training Schools. They face them one-on-one. While they are hitting, they are also hitting.
That can be a form of education. They might have educated you in that line. Don't you think so?
Well, but that makes them educated.
Yeah.
It means they are not illiterate.
Maybe in that regard, yes.
Yes, of course.
It depends on how you.
I am a security expert, and even on security expert, my expertise goes more on intelligence gathering, and even on intelligence gathering, they are more on conducting a guerrilla war research. So it means there are areas of intelligence that I don't have the capacity.
True.
There are areas of intelligence I don't have the knowledge. So it means I'm a specific professional, and by calling me Dr. Yahuza Getso, you cannot allow me to go to the theater of any health facility to conduct CS or any other thing.
True.
And even among the medical doctors. So it means we are educated by who we are and by what we know.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Let's continue in line of, we are not arguing, discussing the issue of who is illiterate, who is not illiterate. But the question is, governments knows the criminals. They interact with them directly or indirectly. Caught me everywhere. That Dr. Yahuza Getso says all the northern governors knows who are the criminals in their respective states.
Okay, we cannot take away.
And they know them by local government constituency, by polling unit, by political ward, by local government, by state assembly constituency, and by federal constituency and senatorial constituency. And if not because of hypocrisy and lack of honesty and sincerity among the northern governors, who are being supported by either external forces or internal forces in order to kill more of their people. It has never affected the governor or his children, neither the commissioners of police, neither the directors of the DSS. It is only affecting the common man. Probably that is the reason why it's a contracting. And probably maybe the external forces, which I cannot mention. I have said time without number that there are situations whereby, even in some cases, where LACRA are providing cover for foreign companies to conduct mining activities. And even other criminals that we have. There are a lot of illegal mining sites that are being utilized, and these criminals are providing cover to those foreigners. And there are a lot of exchange activity, exchange of mineral resources with arms. Where are these arms coming from? What have government done in order to address it? Dr. Getso says, the government, you know, I am repeating myself, Tinubu government knows who are the criminals.
Okay, sir.
They know who is financing them. They have made mention. Government have confessed time without number that we are going to release the list of funding sources of the criminals. But until now, we are waiting. And Dr. Yahuza Getso says that government knows the criminals and knows who they are and knows their background, and government have their profile by polling unit, by political what, by local government. Okay. So it means killing innocent, committing criminal activities, terrorism, extremism, radicalism, kidnapping and banditry, lacurawatism, and what have you. It means all this is part of good governance and is part of the fruits of democracy. Okay. If it is not, I said and I repeat myself, government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu knows who are the criminals, knows where they are. All right. And if you are sincere and honest, deal with them where they are and handle them accordingly.
Okay, so it's almost clear that, you know, somehow these people are known, but my colleague said that...
Forget about somehow. I said it's not somehow.
You have said they
yes.
Okay, let us assume they know where they are. I think it's a bit complex because just as my colleague said when this whole thing started, he said, somehow, if you're going for a particular person or you're trying to track down someone, you implicate somebody else. So it has become so complex, right, in the northern area.
I don't believe it is complex
Nigeria, because nobody wants to go down, or everybody has something.
I don't believe it is complex. It is being complex simply because we are politicizing it.
Yes, I totally agree with that. But I think everybody's protecting their image at this point, because if I decide to call someone that knows someone, that person can come for something against me. So it's a government that is trying to protect, maybe selfish interest right now has, you know, become the center of the whole. I said politicizing the security. Hypocrisy among the governors and elites in northern Nigeria. You mentioned that I like the way you started. You challenged the government or the northern governors to give you, you know, the said amounts that you mentioned to tackle this thing. If you were given, I'm not asking them to give me the money. I want them to have the money and have a system, and I will design a strategy for which the money will be utilized and monitored by government forces. So are you saying? And the strategy to be monitored by me and other professionals that I will mobilize. I don't need a single kobo. So you're saying Nigeria is my country and I'm ready to sacrifice. I don't need a single kobo. There are no chances. The consultancy is free in that case. So they should keep their money to themselves. But let the money be judiciously spent according to the strategy I will design. So are you saying that? I'm not saying that we are going to bring an end of the insecurity 100%. Yes. 75%. In exams, if you pass 50 is a good mark. 55 is good one, 60, 65, 70 to 75%. So if within 90 days we can achieve this, it means Nigeria, the total amount of money, more than 300 trillions that has been spent unjudiciously in the last 13 years could have been utilized in infrastructure, in promoting education, in fixing our rotten health, in providing many things that will have improved the economic capacity and capability of the people in the northern and the country at large. What I'm saying is, with your strategy, are you not seeing, you know, chances of sabotages in that system you try to create? Because I believe that maybe there are well-meaning governors, that have also want their
I will even have a strategy to curb the sabotage, because I will have part of the strategy. There will be identification of the saboteurs and handling them squarely, not handling them politically.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
So every aspect, I have my strategy will work towards addressing it and towards attending to it, including the unknown, the informers that we don't know and they don't have any mark. I want to tell you, I know how to fish them out. It's very easy and it's very simple. Just what matters is to have a belief and sincerity, honesty and transparency, and readiness by the government and judiciary to handle complicit compromises, whom I will expose, whom the strategy will also expose, and provide government agencies a strategic and systematic way of addressing and picking them and dealing with them accordingly.
Don't think that would work because you're not a politician. I mean, you're not a leader at the forefront. Maybe because you're an independent body. And I would also suggest that our leaders, governors, work with people like you, because somehow when they are at the forefront of these affairs, you're trying to impress somebody or not to hurt somebody. But when you have an independent body look into these things, somehow it goes smoothly, because that person is not scared of who is coming for me. Maybe the person is not even in the picture of, everybody being seen or him being seen by all. So maybe that can be a strategy to make these things happen. Do you see the government using this strategy or welcoming such initiative?
Well, I cannot say yes and I cannot say no. We have already expressed our mind, and I have provided information. And this is not the first time I discuss it. So we will wait and see if they will be honest and sincere and ready, if they are really willing to see the end of it. And if they are not ready and they are not sincere and they don't want to see it, it means they are justifying that killings is part of the good governance. And killings is part of the fruits of democracy. And also providing support and cover to the kingpins of the criminal groups is also part of the dividends of democracy.
Let's talk about the Minister of Defense. When he came on board, he had served as the Chief of Defense for a while, and Nigerians felt a relief of hope. They were quite excited about his coming on.
That is General Christopher Musa.
General Christopher Musa. But up to this point, I don't know if we have seen the results or whatever it is that we hoped for. We've seen the fruits of it.
There are two things. I have made mention very clear when General Christopher Musa was appointed, and when service chiefs were removed and the new ones were appointed. And I think a part of the media stations I discussed this is here that we are repeating it today. That General Christopher Musa or General Oloyede consider them as a failure. On arrival, as they were appointed, I said consider them as a failure. As far as government is not ready to create an enabling environment for them to deliver.
So
as far as there is no system to deal with corruption squarely, as far as there is no system to handle sabotage, negligence, internal sabotage and external sabotage, and also provide system of reward and punishment. As far as we continue to have favoritism in terms of managing issues and managing crises, as far as we continue to have political statement and using the anti-graft agencies as errands, as political errands. As far as we continue to have the system of judiciary that we have, the messed and rotten system that we have of judiciary, it means General Oloyede and General Christopher Musa retired are there being seen, final result as a failure. Because I have to be General Christopher Musa, you have to be General Christopher Musa. It means all Nigerians who believe that General Christopher Musa is here to deliver must have the same mindset that we are ready. And I want to tell you, I'm not trying to portray or provide cover or kind of being sacrificed to General Christopher Musa. But as far as I'm concerned, anytime when you have issue, security related issue, once you give him a call, 247, he will pick the call and respond to it accordingly. And almost all the formations. But somewhere, there are saboteurs. So those saboteurs, as far as, you know, it's just like a tree. When it is already arrived to, the fruits are ready. When you shake it, the fruit will come down and the leaves will come down. And you cannot go back and say, no, I have finished this tree. No, if you want to finish it, you have to cut the roots. So General Christopher Musa cannot deliver alone. It has to be a collective responsibility. And how do we take it as a collective responsibility is by ensuring that we have system of accountability mechanism, checking and balancing, managing sensitive issues, handling corruption, dealing with complicit, and so on and so forth. As far as I'm concerned, the government did not really create an enabling environment for General Christopher Musa to operate. And be rest assured, if I were in his position, I will not continue. I'll get out of it. Because I cannot continue where I will have a compromised reputation.
Do you think he has even demanded, you know, from the government of what he needs to do to end insecurity? We saw him.
Well, I think there was a time he had a meeting, and when he came out at the presidency, he had a meeting with the president. I could remember in the brief, security brief, in the brief, press brief that he does, I think some days after his appointment, less than 3 weeks or thereby, he made mention that we have informed the president all our requirements, and the presidency also made mention days after that we are going to provide all the security agencies what they need.
No, we've not had any complaints so far.
But I had complaints. The complaint is the armament and any other things. Sorry, this is Nigeria. It means I'm hungry. So as far as I'm concerned, if the government have provided an enabling environment and attended, I think it's only capital budget that is being funded as far as defense is concerned. But I don't think that the budget, the amount budgeted, is being released to the Federal Ministry of Defense, to the best of my knowledge. And you know, when you need 200 policemen to deliver, and you gave me only 13, do you think I can get result? So there are no personnel, there are no equipment, the budgeted amount of money are not being released, and even if they are being released, they are not being judicially utilized. Something is wrong somewhere. There are a lot of issues of complicit, there are a lot of issues of corruption and so on and so forth, and there are also a lot of compromises even within the population of the country, not even only the security cycle, whereby some individuals and groups are providing support to the criminals against the government or the security.
But you mentioned that you don't need so much right now.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So
I said,
can't we get more results than what we're getting right now?
Well, probably it's not based on my strategy. They're using maybe their own strategy. And their own strategy probably is expected to have 1 trillion or 3 trillion in the budget. So when you release only 1 billion or 19 billion to them, they cannot get results.
So they need a better strategy.
Of course. They have the strategy, they need that strategy to be well funded. And the funding strategy to also be followed up with the supervision and monitoring and fast-tracking. The money is how much money has been released and for what purpose, and what is the result. And for budget release to be based on the feedback, the result-based feedback. If there is no result, there is no money. If there is a result, there will be more money, even if it means to conduct the supplementary budget.
So what I'm saying, is it not possible at this point for them to re-strategize, to work with the available funds, you know, that they have to get a better result?
Well, I think they are hearing your question, and I'm sure probably they may go back to the drawing board and ask themselves, we have been participating and partaking in corrupt activities. Now we want to allow the judicious use of the little amount of money so that we can see what safety and security we can provide for Nigeria.
Recently, following the attacks in Borno, we saw CDS Olufemi Oluyede, General. He visited there and he made a statement that many persons felt uncomfortable with. For others, that statement elicited so much of curiosity. When he said, look, the people must now own or take charge of the fight against insecurity. And he did say very categorically that in this instant case, there were people, civilians from Borno and Yobe states, driving or contributing very significantly to insecurity. And people say, well, you are trying to move the responsibility of fighting insecurity to the people. When you, given your own expertise, look at such a statement, what are the highlights, really?
Well, when people at that level made a statement, it's a policy statement. So we need a digestive review, a descriptive, clear description of what he really means for us to criticize or to support that. But as far as I'm concerned, yes, of course, it's good to encourage. Security is everybody's business,
right?
And all hands must be on deck for it to be delivered. But notwithstanding, we must have a system. If he made that statement, is exposing the system failure. It is indicating how uncomfortable he is with his job. It is indicating the level of fatigue, both social, psychological, and professional fatigue within the Nigerian army or the Nigerian defense. It also exposes that they are incapacitated in terms of armament and gadgets and personnel that they cannot deliver. There was instruction for the Nigerian army and Nigerian police to recruit, I think, more than 50% or 50,000 or thereby.
Yes.
So the question is, where are those who have been recruited? What is the implication of the recruitment? And how is that impacting into the providing security for lives and property? And if he is saying that everybody, the larger population, yes, of course, it is agreed. I mentioned it very clear that the general population, the Nigerians themselves, are also contributing to the insecurity simply because of the hypocrisy within this. Governors are not the security personnel, but they are the chief security of the respective states. But because of the hypocrisy within them, you see, now they are aligning, all of them are aligning into one political bloc, one political group. So, but does that mean if they know coming together to one party, to run a one-party system in the country, will lead to achieving and attaining one political goal or driving the country into a better environment? Why can't they use the same strategy in order to handle the security challenges, which is very fragile? Which, if time continues, people are being killed. Who are they going to govern when there are no people, when the population are no more?
We keep hearing that one of the things we need to quickly fix our insecurity problem in this country is a political leadership at the national level that has the will, that has the courage, to deal with all of this decisively. And in that regard, you always hear people say things like, if you had someone in the person of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, we won't be having this conversation today. Is that your sentiment? Because things have also changed. Times have changed drastically between when Obasanjo left office and today.
The issue is not about what has changed. It's the matter of believing in what Obasanjo believed in.
What did he believe in?
Everybody knows how he was able to handle the security in Zaki Biam and many other parts of the country. So why can't the same leaders that we have, why can't they have the same confidence and do the something or try doing the something? Even if they will fail, let them try it so that we'll know that they have tried and they failed. And I keep saying that we can profile these criminals who are destabilizing, who are committing these offenses, who are the kingpin and so on. So if you can profile them, why can't you deal with them even if it means there will be collateral damage, that it will affect others in the process of doing it? It's very simple. It's very simple. The population of the criminals who are committing the offenses are not up to the population of the Nigerian police. They are not up to the population of the Nigerian military. They are not up to 1%, 1 decimal percent of 0% of 1 million percent of the total population of Nigeria. So how comes that less than 3 million could not allow more than 250 million to have peace of mind?
So my question now is, the way Nigeria is going, insecurity surge, Nigerians have got to that point where they have to take their own security in their hands. They want to share one or two security tips for the ordinary Nigerian out there, especially in villages and localities where insecurity is on the high side.
Well, the reality is, it is obvious that Nigerians are taking law into their hands, and this will continue. Because the total number of arms in the wrong hands, if care is not taken, is much more than the total number of arms in the Agaman armories. So which is signaling a very dangerous, what do you call it? A very dangerous and alarming situation to all of us. So if at all we really want to go into doing something that will take us out of this, all hands must be on deck and everybody must be responsible and everybody must take responsibility. And all the communities, there must be due diligence, and I employ all Nigerians to revisit their neighborhood relationship. Operation Know Your Neighbor and Understand the Stranger. This will help in identifying who is the neighbor and who is a stranger and what that stranger is doing in our community. So there will be a strong unity among, in any situation where you have a strong unity, be rest assured, even if bandits or kidnappers come, they will not achieve. And if they want to go into you, directly or indirectly, they will not achieve. But once there is no unity, and there is poverty, there are weak government, there is lack of sincerity and honesty, there is absence of purpose, there is absence of commitment and dedication, and also the judicial system remains what it is. Forget it. The story is not going to be good for Nigeria. But I believe Nigeria will never be peaceful once we are ready. We are not ready to work as a team and to work together and believe that Nigeria is our country. Nigeria will continue to be chaotic and the situation will be more dangerous in the future than what it was.
Is it safe to engage services of the vigilante at this point?
Well, it's part of it. Engage the services of the vigilante and everybody should be a vigilant.
So everybody should take their own
yes, of course. Yes,
I was going to ask you about, there's now the push for private security outfits to be encouraged, in fact, to be legalized. We understand the leadership of the National Assembly, both at the Senate and House of Reps levels, are already looking into that. By the time we fail us to go into those details, hopefully we'll have to engage you on that front, distant time. However, we'd like to say a big thank you to you at this point in time.
Thank you for having me. It's been a great pleasure.
Yahuza Getso, for taking out time to come join us on the program this morning. This is what we leave with everyone. We want to say a big thank you to you as well for taking our time to watch Global Morning today. Remember that the views of our guests are their opinions. I am Uyi Agumofwegbe.
And I am Priscilla Obasi. Please remember to stay safe. Bye.